Happy Friday, Flosstube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? My name's Caroline. Welcome back to my channel. This is a video all about cross stitch today. Sometimes I talk about knitting, but not today. My name is Caroline, and I am recording here in London, Ontario, Canada at the Evertote workshop. Evertote is my small business. So I have some things I made a list today so that I wouldn't forget anything. So what I'm going to be talking about today, I've got some giveaway winners to announce. I have a new giveaway for the week. I have a garbage update. Spoiler alert, it's very positive. I have a finish to share with you. I have some whips in progress, some future planned finishes very, very soon. And then I have a wonderful email that I wanted to share with you today. A viewer wrote me and asked for some tips and tricks for helping your stitching look neater. And I thought her email was great. And instead of, I tend to get, well, just like I do when I'm talking with you, when I'm answering emails, sometimes I'm quite wordy. And I thought, you know, it was a valuable question that she was asking. And always when somebody asks a question, there's always so many other people out there who are wondering the same thing and, you know, didn't necessarily ask me a question. So I thought, and I do have Isabel's permission, I'm going to read her email to you and then chat about it a little bit. So let's take care of the other business first. First of all, giveaway winners. I have actually already commented on the giveaway winners for today. I am offering up an old issue of Embroidery Canada. It's volume 47. It's a double issue, volume 47, numbers 3 and 4. So this was the magazine, and I was giving away 3 copies. Well, guess what? I added 3 more. So 6 of you, just smacked myself in the face. 6 of you will be receiving a copy of this magazine from me. And actually these were donated from the Embroiderers Guild, the Embroiderers Association of Canada. And the woman who came to Stitch North, who is their representative back in April of 2022, she brought a couple of boxes of these magazines, and we were able to offer them in our swag bags. And we had quite a few left over. They're far too beautiful and chock-a-block full of information to recycle. So I thought it was high time that I started offering them up for giveaways. So 6 copies are going out. And in case you haven't seen my reply to your comment, Alicia Cope 3503, Nicole C 2523, Lori Pierce 8410, DLNY Tube, Graham BJH 8157, and Carolyn Nichols 7551. You are the 6 comments that were chosen to receive these 6 copies of Embroidery Canada. I think these are from 2021, but they're beautiful and there are some really wonderful projects in here. So I hope you will enjoy them. I have a new giveaway for today. Now, actually a lovely, lovely thing to tell you. So my friend Lori, my crazy life Lori Sykes has become a very dear friend, and last year she designed the Cross Stitchers Planner, and it was the first year she did it. And we here at Evertote, and I believe also that in the States, Colorado Cross Stitch was also selling it, and of course Lori herself was selling copies as well. So my sad story that I told a few weeks ago on my Flosstube that I record with Carrie, who is Roxy. She's the dyer and owner of Roxy Floss Co. I was telling Carrie that I had set aside a copy of Lori's planner for myself, but I had neglected to change the inventory in the shop, and then they sold out. So I had to give away my copy. Well, I didn't have to give away my copy. I sold my copy without knowing I'd sold my copy. And Lori herself popped a copy in the mail for me because, well, she's just lovely. So she sent me a copy. And then last week in my mailbox, I received a random act of kindness from Joanne B, who sent me another copy. She also sent me this lovely note card. Look at this. Piano keys. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? It's a beautiful note. So I actually hadn't started using the copy that Lori had sent me. And so and I mean, Joanne sent this to me and it was wrapped up like a perfect present. It was wrapped up in heart tissue paper, and the note was beautifully written, and the card was like, it was just such a lovely, it just completely made my day. Actually, it arrived on the day that I started contacting the city about the garbage can. So Joanne, when I tell you that I opened my mailbox and saw your package, and then I opened it and I had the biggest smile on my face and my blood pressure went right down because it was just so nice. It was perfect timing, so I thank you very much. So actually, because Joanne sent me that gift, and Lori had also sent me some stickers, and I hadn't started using Lori's copy yet. So I am going to keep the copy that Joanne sent me, and I'm going to keep the stickers that Lori sent me, but I am going to give away the copy that Lori gave me. So this is actually from Lori Sykes. This is her planner. Now, I'm going to not choose a winner until next Friday. So of course January is already over. But I tell you, I only started filling this out late last week, and I went right ahead and filled out my entire January because I'd already been keeping notes about what I'd been doing. So I filled out my month, and I am just pleased as punch. I love it. I love this planner. I love this sort of record of my crafting for the month. And so even though you'll be getting it a little bit late, have fun with it. Don't save it for good. And I'm also saying that to myself. I have a terrible habit of, I worry about my handwriting. I worry about ruining something. I worry about if I do it in pen, I can't erase it, and then it's going to be messy, and then it's not perfect, and so then I just don't use it. And then we come to the end of the year, and I have a blank journal. So I thought, you know what? I'm turning 50 this year. You can teach an old dog new tricks. I am not going to keep it for good. I am going to use the things. And so, Joanne, thank you. I am using the thing. And thank you so much for your kindness in sending me this. I absolutely love it. And this means that I have now an extra copy to give away. So, use the things. I mean, look at Joanne's handwriting. It's perfect. Isn't it pretty? Yeah. Perfect handwriting. Thank you so much, Joanne. So I love this. I absolutely love this. Now, I know last video or a video before, I don't know, lost track. Somebody had asked me about the journal that I was using, because I did decide to go ahead, and I was so disappointed that I'd sold my copy. And I was envious of Carrie's because she's been filling hers out as well. And I thought, you know, I really wish I'd been doing that. So I had a planner that I had purchased late last year because it was an 18 month planner. So I think it started in, when did it start? Well, 18 months, right? So the month started in July of last year. Well, again, I didn't fill out July through December. But then I thought, you know what? The book is still good. Just because it's not perfect and you didn't start it at the beginning of the year, it doesn't mean that it's garbage. So I started in January. And somebody had asked me to tell them more about this particular journal. So I just thought I would take a quick moment to do that because it's actually a lovely, lovely style diary. And I'm actually going to continue using it. I'm going to continue using both, but for slightly different purposes. So I've kind of turned this one now into more of a work diary, work journal, and, you know, to-do lists and things like that. And then my cross stitch planner to separate out my crafting. Now it does say cross stitch planner. I am using it to also track my knitting whips and what I'm working on as well. I have been, if you remember, if you've been here a while, you know I'm working on the second sock of a pair. I finally finished the heel flap and turned the heel on that second sock. I just need to pick up the gusset, the heel flap stitches, and knit the gusset decreases. And you know, really it wouldn't take much work, so I just need to get on and finish it. So just I'll show you, for example, how I'm trying really hard to not be overly, you know, precious about things. So you can see it's kind of messy, but that's okay. You know, I'm talking about, you know, what kind of linen Carrie and I are discussing, and, you know, just what I'm working on, and if I worked on it for 2 days, just using an arrow, when I'm recording a floss tube, what sort of things are happening. So this, I purchased, it's a lovely book, lovely flexible cover, but still has some substance to it. So it doesn't feel like, you know, it's got a nice hand feel to it. There is a pocket in the back that has stickers, but frankly, I don't know. These stickers that say, you got this, and you go girl, and I don't know, they're just not very much me. Do you know, does that make sense? But Lori's stickers are sweet. I mean, it's a coffee cup and a heart, and, you know, sort of more, crafty kind of things, and I really like Lori's stickers. I didn't bring them in, this is a funny story, I didn't bring them in because she designed them late last year as sort of an add-on for the planners, and it was already late in the season and we didn't have many copies left, and so I decided not to bring in Lori's sticker packs. But I can tell you, and also I've never really been much of a sticker user because of that reason. They make me feel a little silly. But then I thought, you know what? I like Lori's stickers, and to heck with whether or not I feel silly. So I'm using the things. I'm using the stickers. So I have a new start sticker there. I put my friend Lori's face at the beginning there. New year, new start. See? And then the little cross stitch heart. And it's super fun. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of feel like a bit of a kid again. It's kind of fun. So I am sorry that this giveaways planner is not coming with stickers, but I am keeping, I'm gonna use those stickers myself. Use the things. So the giveaway, leave me a comment below that just says planner. Needs to have the word planner in it, and I will choose a winner in 1 week. And very much big, huge thank you out again to both Joanne and Lori for sending me such lovely gifts. Okay, I had a big finish, huge finish. And you know what? I don't even have it here to share with you because my friends Kathy and Neil came over last night. We had the best time. They came here to the workshop last night. I had it planned out. It's been a while since we've had a really good catch up, the three of us. So they came here last night and we had a good visit and some coffee and a chat, and Neil had offered to take my piece and frame it for me. So I don't have it. It is off with Neil. It is going to be framed and I can't wait. So Neil is, sorry, totally distracted. I had to pause for a minute. So let me catch my train of thought where I was. Kathy and Neil came over. Neil took my piece. Hibernation Day, heartstring samplery. I finished it. I shared it on Instagram. I am just so thrilled with it. I can't believe it's done. I love it. I can't wait to have it framed and on my wall. So I'm going to insert the photo here because I took one. Well, Daniel Daniel here, I walked into work, still had my coat on and stuff, and I said, Daniel, I need you to take my picture, because I knew if I went upstairs and got involved in my work day, then I would just forget about it. And then by the end of the day, everybody's gone. I'm the last one here. And again, there's no one to take my picture. So took my picture, I posted on it. I'm just so tickled with this finish. It's just absolutely, I love it so much. Heartstring Samplery, Hibernation Day. I started it, I believe if I didn't start it in October 2022, it was darn close. I think I probably started it before, but October 2022 is when I really started putting stitches into it. I took it with me when I went to England with Carrie, when we went to the Stitches in London retreat, and I put many of my stitches into it there in England. And so I love that piece. I love the sentiment in it. I love the colors. So it's a 28 count Panettone linen, light dye lot of Panettone linen. You know, it's hand dyed, right? So you never quite know what you're gonna get. So I specifically chose a light color so that I could make sure that my flosses would look good on any dye lot of Panettone, whether it would be slightly darker or whatever. And I chose my own Roxy Floss Co. flosses based on sort of, you know, similar palette to the cover model, but a couple colors are different. You'll notice that my houses are different to Beth's picture, but I love it. I couldn't love it more. So thrilled that it's finished. Yay. So that means that I have had 4 finishes in the month of January. And you know what? I even have them written down. I wrote that I finished them. So 4 finishes in January. So far, if we do a monthly wrap up, now this is the brand new one. So I don't want to crease that at all. So I'm going to set that safely aside. I finished Hälsingland Blommor. I finished Busy Hands. So Hälsingland Blommor was a modern folk embroidery piece. I finished Busy Hands by Kathy Barrick. I finished part 3 of the 1897 Schoolhouse Samplers collaboration with Evertote, and it is Speak of Love Silently. It was the small, beautiful floral design. I finished that. And then I finished Heartstring Samplery, Hibernation Day. 4 finishes this month. Now, I am on a roll, so I feel like I can keep this up. So I have a finish planned for this Sunday. Are you ready? Want to see my works in progress? I have a few other things that I'm working on, but I've only brought 2 that are close to finishing that I think I can finish in the next little while. One of them I'd love to have another Sunday finish. So this is Darling Starling by Modern Folk Embroidery. Now don't get too attached to the cover photo because mine looks nothing like this. Nothing like this. Oh, I have this in my, I love the holidays, and I use Christmas winter project bags all year round. So this is Fa La 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 Llama. Fa La La Llama project bag. I love this guy. So look at the cute little llamas there. So, and this is a large flat. I've got an 11-inch Q-snap in here with my Darling Starling. See, I told you it wasn't anything like the cover. Oops, there's my floss. Hang on. Oops. Nothing like the cover photo because I'm doing it on a 14 count pink Aida. And I'm using, this is Legendary. Roxy Floss Legendary. My floss is all tangled up here. Whoops. Okay, so that's Legendary and Hussy, which is one of my favorite colors in the whole wide world. It's perfect. Perfect. So this is very small, very small. There is zero reason, because I have time this weekend. I have stitching time this weekend. There's no reason why I can't focus and finish this, because it goes super fast. I haven't stitched on Aida in years, And I can tell you, this has been such a fun treat because it's super fast. You can see the holes, easy peasy, and you just go like what's the expression? You go like the clappers. You stitch like the wind, and it's super fast. And it's Jacob. It's 2 colors. It's it's not monochromatic. That's one. 2 colors, so fast, really, really pleasurable. There's no reason why I can't finish that. So that's my goal. This is my Sunday goal, is to finish this piece. So stay tuned. Let's see if we can do it. I think I can. Now, I was messing around. I have a room of doom here at the workshop. I am never going to show you the room of doom because it's terribly embarrassing. But it's where everything that was moved here from home went to live. And I'm slow, and so long story, but I started out in one part of this building, and we have slowly taken over more and more space in this building. Last October, we expanded into downstairs. When one of the other tenants left, we took over the staircase that sort of combined the two. We combined the 2 units. We now take over the main floor, most of the main floor, and then Carrie's dye studio is in the basement of this building. And so with all of those sort of rapid changes over the last 3 years, April 2021 is when we moved in here, and all of my stuff from home, because my business was home-based until that point, everything for my business moved here, but also everything for my personal crafting journey moved here as well. So as we've moved around the building, my stuff has moved around the building as well, and been boxed up and changed position and moved, and I haven't had a lot of crafting time. I haven't had a lot of personal time. Lately, that's been starting to evolve and change, which has been amazing. The more help that I have been able to get here from Hannah and Matt, and now Emma and Julie, and Olani is winding floss, and Daniel downstairs cutting and prepping linen and doing hearth. I have got some amazing, amazing, talented people. And now Carrie down in the dye studio. Carrie's business is her own. We are 2 separate businesses, but we're intrinsically linked in that Evertote, both, we prepare all of her product basically for resale. We take all of her floss in big, large hank form and break it down into cards, prep and serge the linen, etc. And she now has an assistant, Rebecca. So we're a busy place, very happy team. Everybody is amazing. We all get along so well. I love coming to work every day. So, what's to complain about? So I have an extra room in my area here that is basically for storage. And so whenever I didn't know where to put something, it would kind of get shoved in there. So that's how it became known as the room of doom. And actually this room where I'm sitting now was the original room of doom. And as you can tell, it is no longer. So that room has been bothering me for so long, but I don't have time. So I just shut the door and ignore it. Well, the time has come. It's time to deal with the room of doom. So I've been digging through it, finding treasures, and it's hard not to lose track of time when I go in there because I'm a nostalgic crafter. So, and my tastes are still pretty similar to, when I started becoming a crafter and buying a lot of these items. And so I still really love my stash pile. There are a few projects that I have decided to move on from, but only a couple. I'll share those another time. But this is a piece, this cute little piece that is so close to being done. And I tell you, you're gonna look at it and you're gonna be like, Caroline, why haven't you finished that already? Where the heck did the chart go? I was just looking at the chart and now it's missing. I took it out and what did I do with it? Oh my Good gravy. I don't know, did I put it in here along with Darling Starling? Let's have a peek. I did not. Okay, all right, stand by. I have to find the chart. Found it. So, hands-on design, a year in chalk. So I showed this project, oh, I don't know, 2 months ago, because I'd found it in the Room of Doom when I went on a deep dive for something else, and I came across this and I'm like, oh, that's so small, I could finish that in no time. Well, guess what's still not finished? So this is the month of May, Plant Seeds of Joy, and it is so sweet. I know that I've stitched more on this since the last time I shared it with you. So it's almost done. Why isn't this finished? So Darling Starling and Plant Seeds of Joy are next up on the chopping block to be finished. So here's why I told you about the Room of Doom, because I have actually actively been clearing and cleaning that room, and guess what I found? I found all the other ones that I've already finished. And I am so thrilled because I honestly didn't know where I'd put these. And so the fact that I found them again is 2 thumbs up, Caroline. So this first one has been, this one I knew where it was because this one has been living on my my bulletin board in my sewing room. So this is Thankful and Grateful. And you may notice that because it's been on the wall, the fabric has very slightly faded to the next ones that I'm going to show you. But I don't care about that. So this was, because the Hands-On Design is an American designer, your Thanksgiving is in November. I'm Canadian, our Thanksgiving is in October. And so this is my October month. Okay, so here are the other ones from this series that I have finished. In order, should I do them in order? No, let's not. Let's just do them however they come. Okay, this was February. You Hold My Heart. And then we have May. May Luck Be Yours. Oh no, it's cute, right? Yeah. Then we have January. Let It Snow. And pretty sure this is April. Hello Spring. March, April, I think it's April. March? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's adorable. I love these. The summer one, the July one, some of them are very Americanized. Not that that's a bad thing, but I'm not American. So there's a couple of them, like the 4th of July-esque one that I might, you know, think about, or I might just not stitch it at all. I don't have to do all 12 of them, which might be easier than trying to reinvent the wheel. But aren't they cute? They're so sweet. I love them. And I'm completely thrilled that I found them. So now I actually have a whip, like an FO pile. So now these can join those. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do with them all when they're done. And frankly, when I stitch little things like this, sometimes that's not, the finish isn't really the point. It's more the fun of the stitch. I think many of you can understand. I am very much a process stitcher, though I love finishes. I love starts. I love kitting things up. I love stitching. I love finishes. I love it all. But I'm never disappointed if I don't frame something or if I don't finish it into a bag. I'm perfectly content for these just to sit in a pile and just be done. So that's what I'm working on. And I am pleased as punch with myself that I am finishing things. So I have a plan for the year. 50 for 50. And so my original plan, and I'm going to try to stick to the original plan and not make things, I have a bad habit of making things overly grandiose and then not being able to, you know, rise to the occasion, as it were. So my original plan is 50 for 50. And my 50 includes starts and finishes. Well, I had 4 finishes in January and 4 new starts. I don't think I've told you about the 4th one, but you're gonna have to wait till next week till I share that one with you. So that I'm up to 8 already. So I don't know, my 50 for 50 may turn into something totally different. But for now, we're gonna stick with the plan because I know there are going to be months throughout this year that I don't have as much time. But yeah, it's just so good. Okay, so those are my plans. That's what I'm doing. Told you about all the things. So let's get to Valerie's email. I am going to just turn the camera off for a minute so that I can find her email, and then I'll read it to you, and we'll have a discussion. Good gravy. I said Valerie, didn't I? I'm so sorry. It's Isabel. Isabel sent me the following email. Hi, Caroline of Evertote. I'm new to your videos and want to tell you how much I enjoy them and also get some advice. I have ordered your Aida before, color Panettone. I'm very happy with it. I also wanted to say that your pieces are amazing, and that is what my question concerns. First of all, Isabel, thank you. I started cross stitch quite a few years ago, stopped for a number of years, and picked it up again maybe 10 or so years ago. I also do needlepoint. Now I've been working on Aida, usually 14 or 16 count. Years ago, I worked on 18 count Aida, but I also did a few pieces on, I'm not 100% sure of what it is, linen or even weave. This is the question. Your cross stitch looks like a painting. I'm not sure what mine looks like. Do you think it is because of the fabric? I watched a video where they use from 28 count linen, 32, 36, 40, and even 56 count. Their work is tiny compared to when you work on Aida. Also, the stitches are so smooth, and maybe that is because sometimes you use 1/1 where the strands of thread would not be uneven. I don't know why some of mine looks so messy. It's not terrible by any means, but it comes nowhere near to what your work looks like. Someone mentioned something called a laying tool. If I had to use that, it would take me hours and hours just to do something simple. Sorry, that was my Auntie Marcia texting me. I don't know if she watches, but if she does, hi Auntie Marcia. Sorry, someone mentioning a laying tool. If I had to use that, it would take me hours and hours just to do something simple. I don't think at this stage I have the patience for that. I look at some of my earlier pieces and they look much neater, smoother, and I don't know how I worked on. Good gravy. I hope everybody's okay. I don't know how I worked on linen or even weave because now the holes are not that easy to see. I tried getting a piece of 28 count linen and I can't get started on it. Sounds really stupid, I know. So what I am asking for is any advice you could give me on why you think my pieces are like that, and is there anything I can do to improve the look of my work? Thank you for any help you can give me, Isabel. Now I have to add her PS here because it's sweet, and I love it when you send me messages like this. PS, I am half Canadian. My dad was born in Canada and I love Canada even though I haven't been back there in years. So you're Canadian. I love that. So Isabel, so first of all, if I may, and I say this, please know that I say this to myself all the time. And this is something that I say to my son. Many times when my son is becoming focused on how he is comparing to his friends with their homework, their schoolwork, their grades, their achievements, their, you know, their savings account, you know, if they're working a part-time job and they have more money than he does, or, you know, maybe they have better clothes, or they have, so whatever it is, comparing to others is such an unfair thing to do to yourself. And I speak of this for myself as well, because we're human. We all do it. It's of course we all do it. It's completely normal. But it is so unfair to ourselves because this is what I try to say to my son, because, you know, he's like me, he talks a lot. So, and like me, sometimes we don't always listen all that well either. So I try to boil it down to the bare bones of the point, which is you only have yourself to compete with. You have to only compete with yourself. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. It only matters what you're doing. And if you are not happy with your own work because you want to make it better for yourself, then that is different than feeling bad about what you're doing because you think other people's stuff is better. It's so unkind to yourself. So I just wanted you to know that. And first of all, you're stitching and you're joining in the community, and you're clearly interested in, you share a passion for crafting like we all do. And so, you know, win-win. So don't compare your work to what other people's work looks like. You see my work from a distance, and that's also a really important thing to remember. When you are working on your own cross stitch piece, and so my vision is so terrible. When I stitch, this is how I stitch. I have to take my glasses off and I work like this. This is how close I have to hold it to my face in order to be able to see it. And I have it's like I say this all the time. It's a superpower. I can see the smallest count, the tiniest count, but I can't actually, I take my glasses, I can't see you at all. I cannot see the camera. Everything's blurry. Can't see anything at all. And when you're working like that for, you know, months on a piece, that close, all you see are flaws. All you see are your flaws. And then you see, so my work, you have admired my work. You're seeing it from a distance. Well, if I look at this, I can see this is white stitching. White stitches are notoriously messy. Very difficult to have them look perfect. I look at this and I think, ugh, I should have, you know, but I don't actually think that. But if I cared enough to really care that, you know, 3 of my stitches aren't laying perfectly flat, well, can you tell? Can you tell that 3 of my white stitches in this bottom row are not lying perfectly flat? You can't. So it's kind of like comparing yourself to somebody on Instagram who's wearing a filter. That's not their real face. I mean, this is my real stitching, but you're not seeing it close up enough to judge what I would see as an imperfection. So I think that's a really important thing to remember. You have to step back from your work a little bit and decide, is it really as messy as you think it is, or is it possibly that you're just being a little bit too hard on yourself? Also, if you've been a crafter for a long time, and I have, our vision changes as we age. You know, this is why magnifiers are big money, right? People begin to use magnifiers, different glasses, better lighting. So now let's get into tips and tricks for how to make your stitching look better. If you want it to look better for yourself, only for yourself, or, you know, if you are trying to enter your pieces in a competition or to be juried for, you know, an embroiderer's guild, or you're taking classes or things like that, this is not the advice for that, because that is not the kind of stitcher that I am. So anything that I say here is with that caveat. I am a hobbyist stitcher. I am not interested in having my work critiqued, or, gosh, I would love, like, dream of mine, one day I will go to Hampton Court to the Royal School of Needlework and take a class. That's on my bucket list. One day I will do that. I don't know when, and I don't know what class, and I don't really care. It can be anything. I don't really care. I just want to go there, and I just want to gawp around and look at everything and just see what everything, and yeah, one day I will do that. So, but this is, I mean, that's not what this is, and but I am fairly I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to certain things, and I have a feeling I'm completely undiagnosed. This is completely a self-diagnosis kind of thing. I believe I have characteristics of ADHD. I believe I have characteristics of OCD. I'm completely undiagnosed. Just small things that I've noticed in myself, and also, you know, noticed in other family members that I think, it just means that I have certain tendencies towards wanting things to be a certain way. Texture is a big thing. Microfibers drive me wild. Like, I can't touch microfiber cloths or, you know, technical clothing that, you know, that sort of wick dry sort of stuff that feels, to most people, it doesn't. My husband, my kids, they love it. It's fine. I want to run and wash my hands because I can't touch it. My husband will say, you know, oh, can you just rub my shoulders? They're really sore. And I'm like, no, with that shirt on, I'm not touching your shoulders. I don't like taking it out of the dryer. I don't like, you know, I can't do it. So tactile things are really important to me. So if I feel a knot at the back of my work while I'm working, and I'm always touching it, I'm always touching the back of my work. If there's a knot there, I have to get rid of it. So I will find the knot, take care of it, and then carry on. So finding things sooner rather than finding them the next day where you've stitched, you know, miles more lengths of floss, and then the knot is kind of buried back in there. Well, that can cause things to be slightly untidy on the front, right? Because it causes a little lump. So that's my front and that's my back. To keep your backs neat and tidy, I do, the way that I stop and start my threads is with something called a Bargello tuck. If I already have stitching around it, I will find the closest stitching. It's only a couple of stitches away. Sew the end in until the very tip of the end is buried, and then I will take one more tiny little stitch at the end of where that is, so that it's kind of like you're doing long stitch and then tiny stitch. So it locks it in place, and your tail is completely tucked underneath your previous stitching. So that's how I avoid knots on the back of my work, and I keep the ends. There's no loose ends. I also don't carry my floss more than 2 or 3 stitches. I will bury the end, snip it, and move and redo my needle. 2 ways that I start my floss. One of them is the pin stitch. X-Stitch MD has a wonderful tutorial, YouTube tutorial, X-Stitch MD, on the pin stitch, so you can check hers out. Lots of other people, I believe also Nicola Parkman has a pin stitch, probably Needlebug, as well as, does Jean Farish have one? We'll talk more about Jean Farish in a minute. Remind me if I forget, because Aida linen discussion, Jean Farish should come into that. What else about the back? So yeah, I don't drag my floss more than 2 or 3 stitches. Starting and stopping, pin stitch, as well as waist knot. Waist knot is a great way to start your thread if there's no stitches nearby and you're doing a straight line. I have a tutorial video here on this channel. If you just search for off the grid away or waist knot, it's because it's the same thing. An away knot and a waist knot, not a waist. It's waist knot, like you're wasting the thread, and away knot. They're the same. So now 1/2 versus 2/2. Definitely 1/2 is going to be neater because you're only dealing with 1 strand of floss, and your leg is going to be 1 strand, 1 strand, that way, top leg. When you've got 2 strands of floss, 2 and 2, what happens is sometimes they can lie like this, right? And then they don't lie flat. So what you can do something called railroading. And all that means is that when you bring your needle down, you're going to bring your needle through the 2 strands of floss that are coming into the hole. Bring your needle right through the middle of them. And then what that's going to do is that needle is then going to end up going directly through those 2 strands of floss there. And as you pull the thread through, it will help those 2 strands lie flat. So then you'll have like this top leg. Sorry. So does that make sense? I am quite certain that somebody has done a YouTube tutorial video on railroading. So just Google in YouTube, just do a search for how to railroad my cross stitches, something like that. I'm positive you'll come up with something that, you know, is going to be like a 5-minute less tutorial video. If you can't find one, let me know and I'll do something, because it's dead easy. It's a very effective way to make your top leg. Some people will railroad both legs of the stitch, so they'll do it for the bottom leg, the bottom leg and the top. I know, see, has to be one or the other. Some people will do the bottom and the top leg. Some people only do the top leg because that's what we visually see is the top leg, and some people don't do it at all. For me, it really depends. I find that I do a combination. Sometimes if I have thread that's really not behaving, I will tend to railroad more often, but generally, as long as the thread, it depends on how I am putting my needle in and how twisted my floss is. I tend to, and this is a habit I didn't notice I was doing until somebody asked me about twisted thread. When I knit, and you're knitting from the ball, the yarn tends to start to, you know, twist, right? Because it's coming off of a circle and you're not untangling it. So the yarn starts to go like phone cord, an old-timey phone cord with the coil, right? And as you keep knitting, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and it starts to spring up on itself, just like an old-timey phone cord. And so the expression is dangle to untangle. So every once in a while, my husband will look over and there I am holding a sock out in the middle of the air, dangling it so that the sock is spinning round and round and round. What that's doing is it's untangling, it's unspinning my working yarn so that I get rid of that coil that keeps coiling up on itself. Some people do the same thing when they're stitching. They do the same thing with their needle. They'll drop it and it'll spin, and then it's untwisted, right? Well, I've discovered that I actually have a little habit that I didn't really know I was doing. I tend to rotate my needle in my fingers. So after I've been stitching a couple of stitches, and if I notice that my thread is, so let's twist it. Let's see. So it's slightly twisted, right? So let's see, I notice that it's doing that. I'll just do that. Untwist it and then keep stitching. So I will just untwist it with my fingers. And so if I see that if it's really coily down by my work, sorry, you can't see that, down by my work, I'm going to want to get rid of that before I stitch. So I do that. That helps it lie a little flatter before I've even thought about whether or not I'm going to railroad the stitch or not. I would never railroad both legs. I'm far too lazy for that. But some people do, and that's okay too. So what I would love is for others who are, you know, do you have any other advice? I'm sure there's lots of other tips that I haven't off the top of my head thought about. Keep your backs neat and tidy if you can. Don't carry your threads. Keeping your back neat really does make a difference on the front, to how the front looks, to me. Some people say it doesn't, and to them it doesn't, and that's fine. But I am just like the microfiber feeling on my fingers. I'm super picky. I'm also super picky about the taste of water. Water has a taste. Much to my husband's bewilderment, and you know, I drive them bananas because I'm like, the water filter needs to be changed because the water is tasting funny again. And our water doesn't taste funny. Do you know what I mean? But we go different places and the water tastes different. Spring water tastes like, if you buy water, this brand of water tastes different than that brand of water. I don't like my water to have a taste. So we have a reverse osmosis water filter on our home tap, and that's the water that I like. I'm very fussy in certain ways. I like my pie with the ice cream on the side, if it's unless it's strawberry, and then no ice cream. I can't say that whole line from that movie. That's When Harry Met Sally, but watching that is like, yeah, I get that. I feel that. You know what I mean? I like things the way that I like them, and that's just the way it is. So I hope that was a little bit helpful. I don't know if I really answered your question other than try not to compare yourself. If you're stitching on Aida because it's pleasurable for you, it's a tool. It's still stitching. Do I think stitching looks better on linen than on Aida? That's a loaded question. That is a totally personal preference thing that, I mean, you could cause a flame war with that kind of a, you know, statement if I said, oh, yes, linen is way better or Aida is way better. I'm not on teams. I don't take sides. It is a tool in the toolbox for stitching. If you like Aida stitching, if you can see better using Aida, if you can get your stitches to lie neatly on Aida and you're happy with your finished result, then you should use Aida. I am loving the heck out of my darling starling because, man, boy howdy, it's fun. It's super fun. And you know, it's a tool in the toolbox. If you want to try stitching on linen, go for it. See, I knew. I'm glad I remembered. Jean Farish. Jean Farish has a great video on transitioning from Aida fabrics to linen fabrics. If you were stitching on even weave is a great gateway in between. It's a great stepping stone because, of course, it's now technically linen is an even weave, and that's a whole other discussion. But for our purposes, I am calling Aida is the fabric that has the 2 warp threads and the 2 weft threads and the very visible holes. Even weave is a man-made product that has 1 warp and 1 weft, but there are no variations in it because it's a man-made product. It is very, very even. There are no thinner, thicker threads in the warp and weft. It's all exactly the same. Linen is a natural product made from natural things in the world, and so will many times include little bits of flotsam and jetsam in it. You'll have slubs, you'll have a skinny thread next to a thicker thread, and it's a slightly different beast to stitch on. So people who want to move from Aida to linen will sometimes try some even weave in the middle, or they'll just jump directly to linen. Jean Farish, how to move to linen, something like that. It's a tutorial video. She does a great job of explaining exactly how to do it. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Go and watch her video. I will try to dig it up and link to it in my description box below. It's well worth a watch if you're hoping to try stitching on linen for fun. So yeah, I think that's it for me today. I need to get back to work. I better get back to work here and get ready for the weekend. It is weekend time. I am coming in to work for a little bit tomorrow morning. Hannah and I have a few things to do together here tomorrow morning, but other than that, I am going to be cleaning up at home, doing some chores, doing the usual thing, and fitting in some stitching. So have a great weekend, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you next week. Happy stitching.